going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary, Neel. He's Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How we doing? It's been a long time.
Man, it has been a long time. I was at the PGA Championship,
What? All right. Well, we're starting there, obviously.
and I got a chance to walk the course on Wednesday,
Okay.
practice around with Rory McIlroy.
Seriously. Okay.
And I got a putting lesson from Brad Faxon.
Did you? Wow. He's like one of the
Yes,
best.
one of the
So
best
you're
in the
not
world.
missing putts now, are you?
I am still, but I'm getting closer. Getting
Okay.
closer to my putts, ladies and gentlemen. So,
There you
but
go.
then it didn't stop there, bro. I had a great weekend. We had some clients in town. Took them to the event, to the PGA tournament. Met up with some content creators that are on the golf space.
Mhm.
Because I'm in that space now. I'm a
Yeah.
golf
Influencer.
content creator.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, I get to walk in between the ropes with Bryson DeChambeau
Wow. This
and
is impressive.
Tony Finau. So Tony Finau
Okay.
was him were paired up.
Uh-huh.
And that was an amazing experience. Not gonna lie.
I
Not gonna
bet.
lie. But not gonna end there.
It keeps going.
Get to the 18th green.
Uh-huh.
All the fans are there waiting for Bryson to come in. But guess who's behind us?
Who's that?
Scotty Scheffler.
Wow.
So we get to watch Scotty come in and finish. And when I say we're on the green, I mean we were right there on the green. We're inside the ropes. So being inside the ropes as an experience of watching golf, unless I'm doing that, I'm not going to any golf arrangement.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you've
be at the
peaked.
house watching it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
peaked, man. Because there's no way that I'm gonna be able to play in the PGA unless there is a way one day.
Maybe.
You never know.
Like that creator classic, the influencer classic. You can do that.
Yeah,
We'll get you out there sometime soon.
Yeah, I just gotta get my handicap down.
That's it.
But yeah, man, it was a fantastic week the other week, and it's the golf life, man. It's something special.
Yeah.
Those guys are mentally established. They are
Mm-hmm.
mentally beyond the typical athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You have thousands, millions of people watching you and chanting you on and saying,
You're all alone out there too.
Yeah, and that putt can be very lonely.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well,
That was
that's
fun,
awesome.
man.
I
So
love
yeah, I
to
just
hear
wanted
that.
to share that with you. Oh,
Yeah, no, that's
I
great.
also played Sage Valley
Did you
in
really?
Aiken, South Carolina
Uh-huh.
this past weekend. I went with my family, and a friend of ours invited us. Shout out to the Tuckers. We went out there with our family. It was a great place, very kid friendly. Our kids were out there on the par 3 course. My daughter loves golf now, and
Nice.
we're just out there just having a blast. Go play 18 on Saturday, and I shoot a 87,
Attaboy.
a
Very
48
nice.
on the front,
Hey,
a
you
39
rallied.
on the back.
You rallied. That's great.
And
Love that.
I dropped an eagle on hole 13. I holed it out for par 4. So I was 90 yards away. Just nice, easy swing.
Uh-huh.
Drop right over the sand bunker. 2 hops and a skip, and it rolls right in.
I love it. That's great.
So, just wanted to share my golf experience with you Oregon folks, because that's what I've been doing since y'all ain't been hearing me talk. There's been a lot of golf lately.
I was gonna say we've been off for I think 3 or 4 weeks, and who is shocked that we opened the podcast with about 5 minutes of golf talk? Yes, it is still an Oregon Ducks podcast. Don't worry, we'll get into a lot of Ducks content. But first wanted to just kind of apologize to the listeners for being off for the past several weeks. Like Jay Stu said, schedules, family stuff, just we get busy, and we kind of struggled to get our schedules to align. So we took a little bit of a break off, and I think it was good. I think it was good for both of us after spring football. But now we're ready to dive back into things. I want to start with some news and a little bit of a fun game to start things off.
Okay.
Earlier today, EA Sports College Football 26 announced the cover athletes for the new video game that's set to come out in July. I think to nobody's surprise, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams will be the 2 athletes on the cover there. 2 of the best young players in the game right now. I was not at all shocked to see them on there. This got me thinking, though, who do you think next year from the Oregon Ducks could be on the cover? I figure we make a little draft out of this. Jay Stu, you pick 3 guys. I pick 3 guys. We go back and forth. I'll give you the first pick of this. If you had to choose any Oregon player to be on the cover of College Football 27, who would it be?
I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Decorian Moore, baby.
Yeah, that's the
Freshman.
pick.
You might
That's
as
the
well
pick.
just be like Jeremiah Smith. So go ahead. That's the measuring stick right now.
That's
So
a
I'm gonna
high
go
measuring
Decorian
stick.
Moore. It is a high one, but hey, look, you're an Oregon Duck now, and we
Yeah.
need you to just be special. Like we just been hearing nothing but good things about this kid in camp. Seems to have the mentality to lead even at the freshman level, which is huge. Knowing that a guy has that much confidence in how he prepares and how he's going to go out there and perform. Because a lot of times, people are quiet because they don't want to have high expectations for themselves.
Mhm. They don't want the pressure.
Um, and I'm not saying like be loud, but more so like being loud with how you carry yourself, meaning
Be confident.
confident, exactly. So, um, I'm excited to see him perform, excited for him to get chances, excited to see what the offensive coordinator does to make this happen. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, Decorian Moore.
Yeah, I think there was 2 easy first round picks in this one. DeCorian was obviously one of them. I'm gonna take the other Moore. I'm going Dante Moore. I mean, it's
Hmm.
if he is the quarterback we think he can be, if he's the guy that we think he will be at Oregon, he absolutely can be on that cover as one of the athletes. And there's
But
kind
what
of
if
like
he?
some Go ahead.
Oh, hold on. What if he has a baller season and says, "I'm out of here"?
That's what I was just about to say. There's kind of some prerequisites for this. You have to be A, really good, obviously, and B, you kind of have to be coming back for the next year because they're not going to put someone going into the NFL draft on that cover. So, yeah, there is the chance that Dante balls out this year and is like, all right, I'm 1 year as a starter going into the league. Follow that Anthony Richardson model from Florida. I think he's probably going to stick around for 2 years, though. I just, he seems like a guy based off what we saw last year that he's willing to come in and just wait behind Dylan Gabriel. That peg, like I see that as a guy who's like, yeah, I'm gonna bide my time and get my reps where I need to. And he wants to be a fully fledged project or prospect going into the NFL. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Dante Moore would be my guy. Who's your other ones? Your next one at least.
Um, I mean, technically, in my opinion, those are the two ones that make the most sense.
Yep. Agreed.
And, the next couple we're talking about is kind of like freelance, wishful thinking, in my opinion, because it's very unlikely that a defensive player could actually make it. But
Yeah.
we'll say that these players having a good season the way they should have a good season will be
Mhm.
well deserving. And I'm going to go Dylan Thieneman.
Okay.
Um, but again, I mean, if he balls out to where he's going to be on a
Yeah.
cover, he might as
Yeah.
well just be on the cover of, a magazine talking about him going to the league. So,
It's such a small little needle to thread, like, you have to be good enough to be on the cover, but not good enough to go to that's why Decorian and Dante were the easy answers, but,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
someone like Dylan, if he's that good to get on the cover, he's
yeah,
going
he's
to the
gone.
league.
Yeah,
He's gone.
well, we'll see one of those made up covers that people do. The
Yeah,
fans draw up the
yeah.
college NCAA fan covers. I actually
Yeah.
had one of those made up. Back in the day when I
Did
was
you?
thought of as as an athlete.
Yeah.
Um,
You're still an athlete, you're
yeah,
just a golfer, a different
yeah, I'm a
athlete.
golfer fanatic,
That's it.
better than
Yeah.
athlete.
On the same kinda note, my next guy was Kenyon Sadiq because, like,
Hmm.
that offensive, like, firepower he has, yeah, he can be that guy, but if
Yeah,
he is that guy, he's gone. So
yeah,
that's why these last few guys, we can kinda say that all about him. But Kenyon Sadiq, we don't need to say anything more than we've already said before on this podcast.
yeah.
He can be that special that he's the color athlete is, like, the 6th amazing thing about him, you know?
Yeah,
You got any
expecting
others?
expecting really big things out of him.
Absolutely.
The next one I would say, how was Elijah rushing during spring ball? Did we have any talk about him?
we didn't talk about him much. It's because he's still kind of playing like a backup role behind someone who I thought
Mateo.
I might pick. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's kind of in that
that's the same
Keeneland
category,
class too.
right?
Yeah,
But
same category.
I would say, you know, playing behind Mateo, Elijah
Mhm.
Rushing has an opportunity to develop and grow and become the next big thing for
Yeah,
Oregon on defense. And so I'm expecting big things out of him because, obviously he's a highly touted recruit. Um, now
he's
I'll
gotten
go with,
so
I'll
big too.
yeah,
He's
I heard.
beefed up this year. He's huge.
So I'm gonna go. That's my wild card. My wild card is Elijah Rushing.
I like it. I don't think there's any world where it actually happens because he would have to have such an unbelievable season
Yeah.
to get on the cover. I mean, he could do it,
But
but he would just be
If
so
you have Mateo on the other side and you figure out a way to
yeah,
get on the field when you have a dog,
yeah,
that's what these young guys got to realize.
yeah,
You might not be number one, but that could be a good thing.
yeah,
Okay, because now you can be the
absolutely,
second guy getting off while they're over there game planning for the number one guy.
absolutely. All right, the guy that I'm going with, and this one is like kind of he could go to the league, but I think he actually might return. We'll see. I'm going Mekhi Hughes. I think
Mm.
that he could have a huge season at running back. He may be good enough to.
If he
That's
has a
not like
huge season, dog, he out
I
of there,
know,
man.
and it's like the Jordan James, like
Them
Jordan
running
James
back
left. He doesn't
tires are
want the
gone.
yeah, he doesn't want the miles on his legs. He's gone, but I
Yeah,
don't know. Outside of those top 2, it's like, yeah, I think that these are a little bit far-fetched, but those
I'll
top
give
2
you
I
a
could really see.
I'll give you one that will make the fans laugh or feel good or feel
Oh, boy.
happy. Um, this is like super wild card.
Yeah.
Isaiah World, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't he just be looking so large on the cover, just
Yeah,
covering up the whole entire
yeah.
picture board? Um,
If he's back next year, he's not good enough to get on the cover. I'll tell you that. He has to be, like, average this year, and
no,
he's on the
I know he's a senior too,
or
so
he's in the NFL.
yeah.
What I really wanted to do today is something that we did last year and something that I think was pretty valuable in assessing the strength and like where the strength of this team will be. I want to go through and I want to have us rank the position groups on Oregon's roster. So, on both offense and defense, from QBs to offensive line, from interior defensive line to safeties. Let's try and hash out where we feel the most confident this year, where we think the team is going to be the best. Does that sound good?
Hmm.
So I want to go in reverse order. So we will start with the position group that I don't I don't want to say that we think is the worst because I think that all of these position groups are pretty solid. There's a lot of talent. But let's say the who we have the most questions about, the least amount of confidence in. Um, I should also say before we get started, when I was doing my research for this, I found this incredibly difficult, like hashing out. Like I encourage all you listeners at home to, write down these 10 position groups and find out, like, try and rank them yourselves because I think that our lists are going to be incredibly different. I'm excited. I have not heard your list. You have not heard mine. I'm excited to see where you put them all because I think that, we could flip lists and it's like, I understand it. There's an argument for any of these, well, most of these positions to be at the top. So, um, last year was a little bit more straightforward, but this year I think it was nowhere close to that. You want to start us off? Number 10?
Number 10. So worst to best.
Correct. Worst to best.
I'm gonna go safeties
Safeties. All right.
because the only proven one out there is Thieneman,
Yeah,
right?
but he's like
So
one of the best in the nation.
he's the best in the nation, but he's gonna have a lot of help by them corners.
Okay.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
the corner position is so brand new. We don't know. There's a lot of promise I heard. Okay.
Mhm.
A lot of promise I heard, but we don't know. Right. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna just have to go safeties just from the sense that we got one guy I know for sure.
Yeah. One proven guy.
One
Yes. And
proven guy.
okay. I love it. Our lists are already vastly different.
Hmm.
In my number 10 spot, I've got the linebackers. Just
Okay.
again, you lose someone like Jeff Bassa, Justin Jacobs. You got Betcher back, that's huge. Devin Jackson, very talented. Some young guys. not a lot of proven production, not a lot of depth either. I mean, it's kind of a smaller room I think you're relying on. But yeah, I got linebackers at number 10. Who's your number 9?
Linebackers,
Okay.
because
We agree
the
there.
same exact reason. Betcher is the only one that we can actually say he knows what he's doing. There's a lot of proving that these younger guys have to make up for, which is obviously too. It's a cool experience if you're a fan.
Mhm.
Not knowing what to expect is sometimes a fun place to be. I'm looking forward to seeing Braden Platt,
Mhm.
local boy from Washington, make his stamp, as he gets on the field. And I think we did a good job of, implementing the recruits the way we want to position
Mhm.
the defense to be as successful as they have been. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have any doubt in
Yeah.
our front seven.
Yeah.
We run a 3-4, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Well, we mix it
Um,
up a little bit, but yeah,
yeah.
mostly.
So
Yeah, I think what's cool to me is that while we may have quote unquote doubt or questions about this linebacker room, the coaching staff absolutely does not. Like they have shown the utmost confidence in this group. And I mean, Dan
hmm
Lanning coming out, I think it was right after the spring game, said, "No, we are not going into the transfer portal to add a linebacker. Like I like the guys we have. This is the group that I want. Like I'm riding with these guys." So while we may have this position group low on our list, I think they feel really confident about where they are and what they can do.
yeah.
My number 9 is the cornerbacks. Like you said, there's much like the safeties. There's not even that much proven production here because you got Theron Johnson. He's a former, I think, second team All Big Ten player. Ife Obadegwu, Jaleel Florence. Like, there's some guys there that I think could be really good. They haven't really proved it that much. Jaleel Florence did a couple years ago, but then he spent all last year hurt, so he needs to kind of prove it again.
hmm
Um, yeah, I think that they are lower on my list of, the if I had to bet this unit is going to be one of the best on the team, I would bet the cornerback because I need to see it first.
Yeah.
Who's your
Uh,
number 8?
Cornerbacks.
8. All right, we're kind of in
All right.
lockstep so
Yeah.
far, other than one
Lockstep.
group.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
same reasons. Same reasons. We need to, because if they're good, then that means our safeties are going to be good.
Hmm.
Because they're just
Yeah.
gonna. It's a tango. It's a
Hmm.
dance. It's like,
Yeah.
oh
That
man,
whole
I need y'all to
backfield.
be.
Yeah.
I need y'all to hold up your end of the bargain here.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. My number 8 is quarterback. I know. I like when I was ranking them, I'm like, wow, I really have quarterback at number 8. And it feels weird because I do feel really confident about what Dante Moore or Austin Novosad could do. But do I feel more confident than them about like the tight ends or the wide
so
receivers?
what
I don't know.
record do you have the Oregon Ducks going on next year? Because
I
right
think
now at
they're
this rate, we're not winning a lot of games with the quarterback being the eighth worst position group.
I think they're going 11-1. Like I think they're gonna be really good. That's how talented I think these other positions are. And again, just
hmm
like the cornerbacks, like I believe in the talent there. I
Yeah,
just like when I'm putting my confidence level and like a guarantee that they are going to be the best group on the team, it's not there for me yet. I need to see it.
yeah,
That's asking a lot for Dante Moore to come in as a semi first year starter in this offense and be like, all right, pick up right where Dylan Gabriel left off. I think
You
he
want
can
to
do it,
you want to
but
know what
yeah.
the way this college system is set up right now? We are about to sort of be in this like way of talking about these players as I feel bad for this player because he just got into this situation. I feel bad for this player because he just no look. You guys are basically semi pros, baby. Ain't no
Mhm.
excuses.
That's
You
true.
in position. You locked in. You getting paid. I don't
Yeah.
know how much you're getting paid, but you're getting something.
A good amount.
So you better go out there and perform because
Yeah.
if you don't, you're gonna be sitting on the bench, ain't getting paid.
That's
So
true.
the terminology here as fans, we're gonna start relearning and shifting to treating these young men like pros. So
Mhm.
just get ready. The fanship's still there.
Yeah. Who's your number 7?
Number 7, I have interior defensive line.
Okay. That's also my number 7. We're good there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Barry Alexander has a lot to there's a lot of missing pieces there, from last
He's gotta
year.
prove something. Yeah.
You gotta prove it. And he was brought in, as a transfer to basically replace
Derek Harmon
Derek Harmon,
and
who
Jamari Caldwell. Yeah.
who has an amazing opportunity with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, but yeah, I just think that's a position of weakness because we don't know. And
Yeah.
last year it was a position of strength, especially in
Mhm.
that Rose Bowl. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You feel good about the talent there, but you still need to see it be proven on the
mhm,
field. I think that Amari Washington is gonna have a big year. I know they feel really good about guys like Tion Gray, again, Bear Alexander, Jericho Johnson, Aiden Breland. If he moves inside, he kind of moves inside and outside. So
mhm,
there's some really solid pieces in there. They feel incredible about their size. I mean, they've got a bunch of 6 foot plus, 300 pound plus boys in there that can just wreak havoc and do damage. So, but I feel better about other position groups than I do about the interior defensive line. What was
mhm.
your number 6?
Number 6, I have the tight ends.
Okay, yeah,
Tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq is the golden child, and
uh-huh,
it's just like the safety group, right?
yep,
Um, you're only as good as the guy that's helping you out. It's
okay.
going to come down to the quarterback for Kenyon Sadiq and the rest of the guys. I think um, what's his name? Who's the
Jamari
guy?
Johnson.
Jamari.
Uh-huh.
We need something out you, boy. That's all.
You can be
we need
good
some.
too.
Yeah, we need
I'm
something out you.
seeing I'm seeing a little bit of like a fundamental difference in how you and I ranked these guys. Like your safeties are lower than mine. Your tight
Hmm.
end is lower than mine. Just because like at those positions, I think two of the best players on Oregon's roster are at those two positions.
Yeah.
So I had them higher. But you're looking at it as a group, which I don't blame you. That's
Hmm.
that's part of the exercise. I also just feel really confident about the guys around Sadiq and Thieneman as well. So we'll get to
Yeah.
that when I rank
So
my tight
you
end.
felt so you feel confident in an number 8 rank quarterback position group to deliver the ball to Sadiq, who is ranked higher because he's going to have somebody deliver the ball.
So you're trying to paint this picture that me putting the quarterbacks so low that I don't believe in them. I'm just saying I really believe in these other guys. I still believe in the quarterback. I've got
Okay.
him at 11-1 this
You're
year.
just
We beat
saying
Penn
that it's
State.
a talented group more than
Very
anticipated, and so you're just ranking them based off of the talent of the team. I
And
understand.
it's somewhat in my head, it's like only one person's playing quarterback. You have so
Hmm.
many talented people at safety, at tight end that
Yeah.
I think can all combine to make that position group a little bit stronger. That's just kinda in my head. I still don't feel great about quarterbacks at 8, like, you could wake me up tomorrow and ask me to do this again, and they may be at 3 for me. Like,
Yeah.
it's we'll see how I feel about this when we get to
So
August, but that's just
how
where I
I'm
was today.
ranking this is what have the players done recently that I
Mhm.
know about.
Uh-huh,
The spring ball is spring ball. It's just going window shopping. And
uh-huh.
so you can only talk about the guys that have done things. And so
Okay, then how do you
that's
have
really that's
quarterbacks
what
above number 10?
because I've seen UCLA and the lack of garbage talent that they had around uh, that
That's
they
fair.
had around Dante Moore.
Yeah,
Got a chance to talk with Dante Moore, so
yeah,
there's a little bit more emphasis, and Austin Novosad, right? So
yeah.
um, there's a little bit more input there.
Okay. My number 6, we're on 6, right? You gave your 6.
Yeah.
Your 6 is tight end, is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay, my 6 is running back. I
Mhm.
think that they're really good. I mean, we're in the stage now where I feel really good about all of these positions.
Yeah.
Running back, I think Mekhi Hughes really good. Noah Whittington, very solid. Jaden Lamar, Dwan Riggs, I think they could be really good additional pieces.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very curious to see what the share looks like, what the workload looks like, what that split is once we get into fall camp. And the first few weeks of the season, is Mackay getting 17 to 20 carries per game? Is he getting 14 and Noah gets 12 and Jaden and Dewan get 8 each? So but I think there's so many mouths to feed, but like really talented players that I think this position is in a really good spot.
Okay.
Okay. You're number 5.
My number 5 is gonna be the running backs.
Okay.
Again, Mekhi Hughes. He's rocked up. I heard he's looking larger than life. Uh, but
Yeah.
the one guy that I'm anticipating is Noah Whittington. Noah Whittington, he's a senior, right? Senior.
So yeah, maybe it's 6th year or 5th
Yeah.
year.
So
He's been in the college a
me-
while.
I think we're gonna see a lot more Noah than we might anticipate.
Okay.
And I think it might be like a thing of Makai. If there's any doubt, we're gonna see Noah,
Mhm.
but we're also gonna see Dewan Riggs.
Mhm.
And so talented group. And you mentioned Jaden Lamar
Mhm.
being able to show some flashes
Mhm.
during spring ball.
Yeah,
But
he looked good.
I think Noah, like I think there's a lot of plays last year with Noah Whittington. As far as explosive runs,
Mhm.
he showed up in that department, not just by making guys miss, but running guys over. So he's got, I think, a little bit of chip on his shoulder. Being a senior and having them bring somebody else in because basically they want to make sure they have a top caliber running back, and it's basically
Mhm.
saying you're not top caliber.
Yeah.
So got a chip in that room.
Yeah, I hear you there. My number 5 is safety. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Real quick, do you consider a nickel as a cornerback or a safety? It's kinda in
Um,
between.
it's interesting because a nickel plays, he's like an
Kind of in the
extra
slot.
backer almost. You know what I'm saying? Like an
Yeah.
outside backer.
Just a little bit of a rover.
Yeah, a guy that can do coverage, get to the quarterback, stop the run.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So for my
but
safety, we
he's
don't need.
he's 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 technically a DB.
Yeah. We don't need to go deep into it, but like I said, Dylan Thieneman, I think maybe the single best player on this team is a safety. I think
Hmm.
that boosts it right away. I've heard nothing but good things about Kingston Lopa. Peyton Woodyard has also played really well. If you're kind of throwing the star, the nickel into this group as well, I know they could also be part of the cornerback group. Dalen Austin, really good. Jaden Kennedy, really good. I think there's a lot of talent here, and you have the proven production from Thieneman, who I think will be a first round pick next year in the draft.
Hmm.
I think that I feel really confident about this team. You need someone to step up next to Thieneman, but I think they feel really good about who they have at that position.
Okay,
You're
young
number
boy.
4.
Number 4, I'm going quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dante Moore, uh, former 5-star recruit.
I'm sorry.
He is getting an opportunity to step into his calling,
Hmm.
and so I think you know with the pieces around him, the receiver group, special running backs behind him, so the running game's going to be there, offensive line's intact. Uh, I think he's got the pieces to be good.
I think so too. Yeah, you're much higher on them than I was, but
Hmm.
not high like you've got
You're a
them ranked high.
hater. You're a
I
hater.
apparently I am. Apparently I've got no confidence in the Ducks and the 11-1 record this year.
Yeah, jeez. How you gonna get there with that quarterback?
My number 4 is the wide receivers. I
Mm-hmm.
think Evan Stewart leading the way, assuming he's healthy by then, which he hopefully is. And then we already talked a lot on this podcast about Decory and Moore. Behind them, guys like, Jeremiah McClellan, um, Justice. God, my brain is. We've been off for too long. My brain is not rattling off these names as well as it used to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jurion Dickey, Kyler Casper, Justice Lowe. Like, there's so many guys that I think, yes, someone needs to step up because they're all unproven at this point, but I have so much confidence that someone will step up and that they'll be one of those units. I don't think that they should be talked about yet as one of the top receiving groups in the nation, like they were last year, just because they're not proven yet. But I think by the time the year is over, people are looking at Oregon like, oh my, look at that trio of wide receivers that they have that produce.
Mm-hmm.
Throw in Kenyon Sadiq with that too. It's like, oh, they have some of the best pass catchers in the nation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jurion Dickey, Evan Stewart, but most importantly, DeCorian Moore.
Yep.
I'm gonna be calling it like this, until proven otherwise. The hype is there, baby. And because I'm not in the locker room, I'm not in the meeting room, I'm not having to go out there sweat, behind the team mascot. I can be a fan and I can put the pressure on the player to perform.
Mm-hmm.
DeCorian Moore. We expect big things out of you. Period.
Well, you've got guys too. I mean, your boy Kenyon's with them all spring. He's seen the practice. I know
Yeah.
you've talked to him. He's seen
Yeah.
Decorian
He's
behind
seen
closed
him.
doors.
He's a
I'm
dog.
sure you're hearing good things.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah.
Pit bull out there.
All right. At my number 3, I've got tight ends. Again,
Okay.
I think that with Kenyon as good as he is, I think he could be one of the best, the best tight end in the nation this year, one of the best offensive players. If he gets the opportunity, which we need him to get, which I'm confident he will get. And then you got the guys behind him. Roger Saliapaga, hopefully he's healthy. He should be. Jamari Johnson, I think, will be really good. And then young guys like Vander Plug, AJ Saliapaga, AJ Pugliano, sorry. If they get a little bit of run, I think they can do something. But up top, Kenyon Sadiq, one of the best players on the team. I think that was enough for me to put them in the top 5. And I believe we both have 1 and 2 left, and we both have the same position groups. We'll just see if they're in the same order or not.
I don't know. You just sped out. Oh yeah, that's it.
That was my number 3. You got your number 2, right?
Yeah. So my number 2 is going to be offensive line.
Okay, mine too. All right, we are in lockstep for the final 2.
Yeah, so offensive line.
Our lists were a lot closer than I thought. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
We're in alignment.
Yeah.
I mean, additions of World, Pregnon, and then help. I think Lapani, he's locked in, and to have some help around him, knowing that these are transfers, guys that have played, guys that have experience, and having an off season, especially the way that this training camp went, it seems like they obviously didn't have the starters playing with the starters on purpose, obviously trying to coat what they're trying to accomplish in the off season so that they're not showing their hand. But I think the lesson learned for the coaching staff last year, I think that was something that you don't want to overlook, is by knowing early on, before these guys go out there and play, having a sense and having an idea of who's going to be, your front 5.
Yeah.
I think that, hopefully the 3 transfers that came in, those guys are set in stone, because that's going to just make everything else go even smoother. You talk about protecting the quarterback. You protect the quarterback also by running the ball. So being able to, be, heavy in run support. I think World might. The only thing that concerns me about Isaiah World is how big he is, as far as being able to, turn up field, getting, the leverage that's needed on maybe some of the smaller guys that are going to be affecting the run game, especially in Big Ten. Guys that are tall doesn't mean you always win. So, but yeah.
I think you can also feel confident about the players around World too. That he may be a little bit long levered and not excel as much in the downfield run blocking, but then you look at Pregnon right next to him, and you look at,
Yeah.
Poncho right next to him, it's like, they've got dudes, and then
Yeah.
Bedford can kinda get out in space too and get downfield, so, yeah, I think the talent on this position is arguably the best on the team.
Mhm.
They are I like that we saw last year this team can go into week 1 with an open mind. They're like, "Yeah, we've got the guys. We don't know exactly where they're gonna play yet, but we're gonna kinda move around, take these first few games and figure it out, and then set it in stone." I'm with you. I love the idea of being able to go into week 1 with it set in stone, but I like the idea that we now know we can feel confident in Alik Terry's ability to adapt on the fly and say, "Okay, this may not be
Mhm.
working a little bit. Let's switch things up and move this guy here."
'Cause that's
Um,
exactly what Ohio State had to do during the
exactly,
middle of the season. They had to make things
exactly.
happen on the fly. They basically changed their whole running scheme and everything. Went to the
Yeah.
gap scheme away from the zone that was so heavy early on.
Mhm.
And that's what good coaches, really bring to the table when we talk about, the differences between colleges, right?
Mhm.
Good coaches know how to make things happen and adapt, and the players are able to buy in on that.
Yeah, it's about fitting the scheme to your team and not always fitting the team to your
Mhm.
scheme.
Yep.
I think that we saw that last year with early on in the season, how they kind of mix and match a little bit. And I think they might do that a little bit this year, but I think you feel
Mhm.
pretty good about where you're at with your starters after spring ball. There may be a little bit of changes, maybe a couple position battles, but I think you're pretty solidified at left tackle, left guard, center, and probably right tackle too. That right guard spot maybe up in the air with Bedford or Iuli, but I feel pretty good about where they're at. All right, our
Mhm.
number ones are the exact same. So tell me about the edge rushers.
We have Teo,
Yep.
the freaking who's the guy off of Marvel that has all the rings?
Oh, Thanos.
Thanos. Mateo is Thanos, but
Okay.
way nicer than Thanos.
Yeah.
Um,
Bit quieter.
yeah, not nice. Yeah, I would say quieter, maybe not
Yeah.
nicer,
It's reserved.
at least on the field. But if he has the performance that he had last year, this year, that's
Mhm,
going to allow and free up everyone to do above and beyond
mhm.
the impossible. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to make getting after the quarterback, it makes it easier for those DBs that are new to the game.
Mhm,
It's going to make it easier on the linebacker core to shoot their gaps. It's going to make it easier on the interior. You know what I'm saying? Um, so him, but then Elijah rushing, as we talked earlier, I think he has an opportunity to really step in and be a force.
mhm.
And because you have a guy like Teo on the other side, you got to be that neck. You got to be that guy that they dial in on specialty support. Third
Mm,
downs, third and sixes, we want you in there for one and one reason only.
yeah.
Be that guy,
That quarterback,
right?
yeah. Well, and like you said earlier with Elijah, that he gets the benefit of kinda being that number 2 and not
Mm-hmm.
having all the attention on him. I think that's how Mateo was last year with
Yep.
Jordan Birch on the other side, and now he gets to be that number 1, and that may make it a little bit more difficult because people are kinda keying on him a little bit more, but I think that we saw that he's got the talent to be that guy, and I think can be a very dominant player.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, I think one thing going into this season, you look at that just based off of what you're talking about. Real football scholars know just your best player might not get all the stats,
Yeah.
but he can be the reason why someone else is. And
Mhm.
so when you have that going as far as a yin and a yang, that's a beautiful thing to have,
Mhm.
especially if they both stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, we didn't even mention someone like Tatum Tuioti, who is on that other side too, and Blake Purchase belongs in this
Hmm.
conversation as
Oh
well. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of talent in this room, and they have so many guys that, you know, Mateo and Elijah and Blake and Tatum aren't going to be playing 60, 70 snaps a game. They're going to play playing 30, 35 snaps because they're going to stay fresh and they're going to rotate in and out. And Oregon's not going to miss a step when they go off the field because they got these other quote unquote reserves other that could be starters on any other team in the nation coming in. So Yeah, I think this edge group is by far the best on the team. Well, maybe not by far. They're a little bit above the offensive line, but I think these two groups, offensive line and edge, are on a tier of their own above the rest of the position groups, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a great imagine saying that about an Oregon team
Hmm.
5, 10 years ago, that the offensive line and
The
the pass
defensive
rushers
and
and
the
the
pass
defensive
rush were the
line are
best.
the
Yeah.
2 best. It's like that's
That's
Dan
what you
Lanning's
call
vision
the
right there.
That's the Danny boy effect.
Yes, I love it. Like, this team is very solid in the trenches. They are gonna be
Yeah.
able to get it done in the trenches, which I can't wait to see.
Hmm. What'd you think about Dan Lanning jumping in that pool?
It was, if the recruit wants to do it, if the commit wants to do that, you do whatever it takes to get that commit, but, you know, it wasn't my favorite video I've ever seen. I'll say that.
Yeah,
What do
keep
you
your
think?
shirt on, man. Keep your shirt
Yeah,
on, man. You jump in
yeah,
the pool with your shirt on.
and just, the commit, maybe put some shorts on.
Yeah, yeah. These days, man. Look, all I know is Saban ain't jumping in no pool.
That's very
You either
true.
come or you not.
That's true. It's a new game, though. That's why Saban got out.
Yeah, that's why Dan is made for the job because he will do
That's true.
whatever it takes, and that's what we
Yeah,
need in our head coach.
exactly. Yeah, like I said, if that's what it took to get the commit, absolutely, I'd jump in the pool too.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up there. You got anything else to add before we get out of here?
Um, your baby stayed asleep. So
Baby is still
kudos,
asleep. Yes, we were
kudos to
planning
him.
to have to stop, but good job, Amari.
Yeah, that's a good boy.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited, man. This was cool to do this, and I'm glad that we're on alignment. We're off alignment with the safeties and the tight end. But the reasoning is all, valid.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see the young players step up next
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
And I think the fans should be super excited about, the ability that our coaching staff has to develop these guys.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the true value lies. And we'll be able to actually see next year. Not to say if this was a fluke over the last 3 years of development,
Mhm.
um, but I think we're in a different age where, the transfer portal, paying guys, NIL stuff, like how is our coaching staff, how is the management being altered to handle all this in a way that continues to send the Oregon Ducks trending upward.
Mhm. Yeah, how
So,
good are they at adapting every year
mhm,
to
yeah,
the new changes? Because we know the changes are gonna continue.
mhm,
All right, we will be back next week. We're working on a fun interview with Pro Football Focus writer Max Chadwick, who's written a lot of good stuff about the Ducks this offseason. We just need to kind of get the dates finalized for that. So hopefully that will take place next week sometime. I can't tell you exactly when that'll be. So we'll plan to be back next week for you with something. You can check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me at Zachary C. Neel on Twitter and follow Jay Stu on Twitter at Jonathan Stewart1. Make sure to check out the Believe in Panthers podcast and the Stu and Crew podcast. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co host, Jonathan Stewart, we'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, take it easy.